Hello friends, in this session today let's understand about the concept of incremental loads with Snowflake. An interesting and easy item. Let's understand. What is SnowPipe? A pipe is a named object in Snowflake. It's simply an object. It is a Snowflake object that contains copy statement. A copy statement used for data loads from any source to Snowflake warehouse. Here in our example, the source would be Azure, and the copy statement identifies the source location of data. This source location of data is called a stage. Okay, remember, we call it a stage. Here stage is a source and of course a target table. All data types are supported, including semi-structured data types like JSON and AVRO in SnowPipe. So SnowPipe enables loading data from files as soon as they are available in the stage or the source. It's like near real-time data capture. So we can load data from files in micro batches, making it available to users within minutes. So we need not execute the copy statement manually on a schedule basis. No additional scheduling required. It's a real-time, as when there is an update or insert of data in the source, the stage, automatically the copy statement will be executed, loading the data to the warehouse, your Snowflake destination. And the SnowPipe is a copy command built on top of a cloud storage. In our example today, it's Azure storage. So to implement SnowPipe, we require an Azure storage or AWS storage or Google storage buckets, anything. Main advantage of SnowPipes as compared to the regular traditional ETL incremental loads like Data Factory or Medallion, there are multiple ETL technologies. Compared to them, yes, we can stick to the inbuilt SnowPipe implementation for incremental loads. Reason: SnowPipe's continuous data ingestion service loads data on incremental basis, and it is faster, secured. The cost associated with SnowPipe is purely the warehouse cost for duration of the data load. And SnowPipe uses a combination of file name and something else called file checksum. Checks for the possible or common possible errors, detection and solution. Error detection and error correction. Automatic error detection, automatic error correction using this checksum property. And here are the implementation steps. We are going to work with two different clouds in this environment now. Azure cloud, left side blue box, and Snowflake cloud, right side dark blue box. We are going to create storage account, something called as Azure cloud and storage account. We understood how to get the cloud and the storage account in the earlier class on external stages concept. The previous concept, external stages, we learned how to configure the Azure storage account and container. We are going to use it. Also create one more storage account and get something called as a queue, event grid and enterprise application. This queue and grid are used to auto trigger the pipe whenever there is some content added or modified at the source. Whenever we do some operations at the source, the trigger is executed through queue and event grid. This event grid is mainly for the triggering activity. Whenever a new content is added or existing content is modified, the SnowPipe is called for execution, internally copy command is executed. That auto execution is triggered through event grid. Event grid communicates with the storage container and the queue, storage account queue. For trusted authentication between the Azure cloud and Snowflake cloud, we need enterprise application entry in Azure Active Directory. Let's understand how to configure this entire prototype with two different clouds. Remember, storage container 1 and 2, one for storage account 1 and storage account 2. Storage account 1 for container or the actual data source. Queue it, give it to the event grid. Event grid is used to trigger the copy command. For trusted authentication, we have something called as notification integration in Snowflake cloud. And we have Snowflake stage with file formats. These Snowflake stage and file formats, we are going to have the copy command in SnowPipe and store it in the actual Snowflake database inside the warehouse. Here are the steps. Firstly, create two storage accounts. Storage account 1, storage account 1 to store the queries. Create a queue and document the endpoint URLs and SAS key. Here it is. Firstly, create a queue and get one URL and the SAS key. If you practice the older classes, we did the same thing for implementing the external stages also, something called SAS key. Let's do it now. Storage account 1. Go to your Azure account. Click on this Azure account and search for the storage account. Click on the storage account like this and click create this way. Once we click on the storage account, resource group, I'll say for example SnowPipes RG, give some resource group. In your case it would be free account. Storage account name, say for example storage account 1. Review plus create. You are creating a storage account and say create. Next. Storage account 2. One more thing, after you create the account, we need to have a queue, document the URL and SAS key. Let's wait for some time. Let's get the account key created. In the meantime, I'll say new tab. This way, new tab. Let's get the first account created. First storage account, let's get it created. Let's wait. Let's wait for a few moments. And click on create resource. Create resource. Here you see something called queue plus queue. Click queue like this. Any name is fine. What's the purpose of queue? We'll see. First, get the URL. So what we are doing now? Create storage account 1. This one, storage account 1 and queue. Okay, next. Go to SaaS, shared access signature. We used it in the earlier examples for external stages, previous classes. I'm just repeating the same process once again. Click generate SaaS key. Let's go with the default read write permission, generate SaaS key. And get the SaaS token. Okay, next. Document endpoint URL and SaaS key. Here this is a queue service URL is there, right? This one. In fact, you already have the URL with you. This should be fine. Optionally, this one. URL / SaaS key. It's completely optional. This should be fine. Storage account, queue URL, and the SaaS key. This is the first storage account. As per the notes, second storage account. Let's have the second storage account. I got a new tab just to make it clear for our example. Let's go for the storage account. Okay, get the storage account. Click on create. Click on create. Give the storage account name. Any name is fine. And review plus create. It can be a regular storage account or a data lake storage Gen 2 account, either of them. By default, the Gen 2 option is disabled. If in case you are from Azure data engineering platform, you may enable it. Anything is fine, regular storage account or Gen 2 storage account. Next, as per our notes, create container, upload sales data 1.csv. This is the input file, sales data 1.csv. So let's create the container where inside the second storage account. Let's wait for a few moments. Let's hold on. Let's wait. Well, so storage account 2 is created. Click go to resource. Well, here we go. Click on container. Click on the container plus container. Next. Give the container name and click create this way. Next. Once we get the container created, you just click it. Okay, here we go. Click on the container Then click upload. What to upload? In your class notes, you would be having one file. You will simply use the file and upload it. Well, so here we go. I'll upload one file called sales data file. Okay, this one. Let's upload this file. So this will be the source. Okay. Next. File got uploaded. Document the endpoint URL and the SAS key. Click on the CSV file. This is the URL for the file. So here we go. We are more interested in the container and the storage account and the SAS key. For now, I'll go to the complete account level. Click on the SAS key. Click on the service container. Just provide the regular default options. Click generate SAS and connection string. SAS token. Copy the SAS token. Copy. Okay, and paste it. So this way you have total of 2 different storage accounts. Okay. Next. Go to Active Directory and get your ID, tenant ID. Go home. I'll just take another home page. Just to make it clearer on understanding. Storage account 1, Q. Storage account 2, storage container and file, source file. Number 3, Azure Active Directory. And I'm using a temporary Azure account for our example purpose for time being, and you'll see some ID like this. Copy the Azure ID, tenant ID we call it. Next, from Snowflake Cloud, give this information, Snowflake account, give notification integration, give some name, true, enabled equal to true, by default is false, you make it true, type equal to Q, you would like to communicate with the storage queue, notification provider would be Azure storage queue, and Azure storage queue primary URI, nothing but the URL link. So whatever link we used to have in the given first step, this one. So this complete queue is there, right? We need to supply that link here. And what about authentication? Yes, here it is. Tenant ID is there, right? You have to provide the tenant ID. Something like this. Okay. Next. Get this notification integration. Copy. Go to Snowflake and plus worksheet. And click run. The integration, notification integration option got created successfully. That object got created. Then comes show integration. Okay, something like this. You got some integration like this. SQL school sales pipe like this. Okay, next. Verify it. show notification. Then comes something called describe, notification, integration, this one SQL School sales pipe. This is important. Once you click describe, where in Snowflake Cloud we need to do, we get the complete set of all properties of the pipe. Here you see something called consent URL, right? Click on the consent URL, this one in the output. It will automatically take you to the authentication screen. It will take you to authentication screen. Means we are having some authentication. I repeat once again, click on this consent URL. Just to authorize, make sure your Azure cloud is logged in, Snowflake is logged in, then you click on it. Once we visit this URL, it's auto authenticated, right? Once it is authenticated, then next step, back to our screen. From result, click on the URL, which URL, the consent URL, to establish trusted protocol and authenticate. From Azure Cloud, go to Azure Active Directory Enterprise Applications. From Azure Cloud, go to Enterprise Applications in the Active Directory, default directory, Active Directory. And here, search for Snowflake, this one. Okay, make sure we are able to get the entry in this way. Now we need to copy the application name. This is the enterprise application. It's auto added once you click on the consent URL. You got one name here, right? This one. Copy the name. This name is required for the next step. So show notifications, then describe, and you get consent URL and click. Then go to Azure AD Enterprise Application and get the Snowflake in this way. Next. In storage account 1, go to IAM add role, security, identity and access management, add role. Go to storage account 1, because this is a queue type, right? Queue. The notification integration type is queue. Go to IAM, add role assignment, this one. Owner, contributor, or anyone, go to members and select members. Here we had this Snowflake account, right? The communication account. That has to be given the permissions for the queue, storage queue. Remember, storage account 2 has container source data given to queue. Queue is going to give it to Snowflake. Click review plus assign and click on review plus assign. Next, storage queue data, and here it is. Just give owner permissions, or there is something called storage queue data contributor role. Add role assignment, I just gave owner permission, this one, or we can also give data contributor role permission. There is something called as storage queue data contributor, to whom, here it is, storage queue data contributor to this particular user, this Snowflake application. I just gave owner permission, or more specifically storage queue data contributor permission. Click add role assignment like this. Next. Then here, once you get this queue contributor role and to Snowflake, app properties, blob service endpoint, and generate SAS key. Okay, so here we go. We need to go to app properties or over paste, get the application ID, name and ID, get both. So here it is, go to app, this one, Azure AD, app, overview page, and copy application ID. Endpoint and key were already there, right? This one. They already documented them. It's fine. That's enough. So what we did so far? Number one, storage account 1. Number 2, storage account 2. Then AD. Notification integration authorize. Back to Snowflake account 1. IAM page. I think, yeah, this is not really required, app ID, copy application ID, that's not really required. You have application name with you anyway. We'll see, if required, we'll do it. For now, contributor role, just get the role or owner role to Snowflake. Snowflake app ID, okay, this one. The Snowflake app ID, this one, copy the app name, above Snowflake app, this one, to above Snowflake app, okay, something like this, to make it specific. Next. With this information, step number 5. From Snowflake Cloud, create or replace file format. If you remember, in the external stages concept, we had this one. Getting a file format, any name of your choice for creating an external stage, and the copy command, copy statement. Well, so here it is. Go to the Snowflake session window. Get a file format like this. CSV, text file, anything. A regular file format, I just copy pasted the syntax from external stages concept previous classes. If you remember correctly, after you get the file format, we are supposed to have the stage, right? This one. File format, back to our notes. Then stage. Minor modifications here. Create or replace stage name, URL. Here, this container 2 is there, right? This one, container 2.blob.code.windows.net container. What is this? This is a container name, okay? Whatever container name you have, that container name should be mentioned here. and this will be the SAS key. You have the SAS key like this. Above file format comes like this. So provide the blob container. This is a source. Stage means source, remember. I mean, the actual data source is CSV file that is available in the stage object called storage account container. Go to the Snowflake and run this one. So create or replace stage. This refers to the source. Next. So stages. Report list of all stages. Make sure we are able to get the stage. SQL School sales stage. It's there. So it got created successfully, right? This is a URL. This is the database name, okay? SQL School ETL DB. Just remember the database name. The currently connected database, okay? This one. SQL School ETL DB. Whatever database you wanted to connect, you can select from the drop down. Then ls list that at the rate SQL School sales stage from the previous classes to identify the metadata to list the stage activities. ls at the rate and provide the required stage value like this, okay? At the rate and stage. Give the relevant stage value and let's wait for a few moments. It says invalid resource name. So I think somewhere here it's containing some gap, right? SAS token has some gap. I'll quickly recheck it and do the creation once again. Let's wait. So here it is, create or replace stage file format, right? This is the one, because ideally should not give this invalid resource name, it says, right? So I'll just create it. So create or replace stage name. Yes, Azure colon SQL School storage account 2, right? This one. SQL School storage ACCT2 .blob.co.windows.net container credentials equal to SAS token, and yes, let me just provide this SAS token correctly. This one, right? Provide the correct SAS token. I'll just reduce the font size so that there are no extra characters, okay? I'll just mention like this. Yes, now it should work. Now the length is exactly matching, right? Earlier length was not matching actually. Now the length is exactly matching. It should work now. Let's see. Still the same problem. Oh, yep, I got it. One thing, friends, I forgot to mention here. It should be in small case, okay? It should be in small case. I forgot to mention. Here, SQL School is there, right? SQL School, okay? Storage account 2. With uppercase, we get error, okay? You will get out of range. This one should be in small case. blob.core.windows.net, okay? This one. And slash container. The term initial Azure can be in uppercase, okay? This can be in uppercase, the type of connection, type of URL. Actual endpoint URL should be in lowercase. Create the stage. It will work now anyway. And ls. Now, yes, it's coming up, right? It says size, and right now only one CSV file ready in the container, okay? This one, right? One CSV file. Let's go to overview, sorry, container. Let's go to container, and then once you go to container, click OK, and then here we go. Right now the container has only one file. Okay, so that file is seen here. Stage means source, and the source we have only one file. Now let's create a table that matches with our stage or the location. We uploaded some content that has country, company, month, sale 1, 2, 3. Here it is. Let me show you. Go to the CSV file. Let's verify the input content. Country, company, month, sale 1, 2, 3. Okay, total 6 different fields. You get this one: country, company, month, sale 1, 2, 3. And here you go. Copy into the sales data table from the stage file format, whatever file format we created above. Now it should show like this. Okay, loaded and rows parsed, rows loaded. Okay, next. It's one time load. Now here we go. Auto ingestion equal to true. The pipe has to be created for incremental loads. Create or replace pipe name, any pipe name is fine. Auto ingest equal to true. We got one integration, right? This one. Notification integration, SQL school sales pipe. That SQL school sales pipe notification integration, because there we got authentication, isn't it? You remember, you got one URL, you click on the URL and it got the enterprise application added. That integration should be mentioned as copy into sales data. This one, copy into sales data from stage. So here what happens, only incremental data would be loaded. That's the purpose of the pipe. So once we get this create or replace pipe object, the pipe is created successfully. Now initially select from table name, and we have the data here, right? Some 382 rows, the initial data. See here, 382 rows. Now what we'll do is refresh. We just created the pipe, right? You have to say alter pipe and refresh. Let's wait for a few moments and the pipe is going to refresh. Here now it says no result because there is no extra content added. Now what I'll do is, in this container I'll simply add a new file. Let's add one more file now. It's all about incremental load, right? Let's add one more file and wait for a few moments. Let's add one more file. I forgot to write the step here. Add one or more new data files to the stage that is second storage container created above. Remember, it's all about incremental loads, right? So I'm just adding one more file of similar structure. Okay, basically appending the data. If structure is different, we need extra processing from data factory, Azure data factory or Medallion or other ETL tools. Snowflake is basically a warehousing environment. Now see here, automatically the second file is detected. detected, right? Sales data file 2 is detected, and the status says sent. Sent where? Sent to warehouse for data loads. And scroll down, it would take some time, and we should be able to see more number of rows here. Let's wait for a few moments, and we should be able to see more number of rows. Let's wait for a few moments now. Let me refresh once again, and it should show us. May take some time, and yes, see here, we are able to get the data, right, like this. Okay, so what does it mean? Yes, we are able to append the data, right? We are able to get the data. We are able to get the incremental data. I simply uploaded the file, and we are able to get the data here in the table. So this is what incremental load means. Okay, next. Here we can make use of this particular script, information schema.copy history script, to identify the metadata about the pipe. Here it is. Select from table. Which table? Sales data table. Here are the two different files, and you see the load date. And you can pause or drop the pipe and drop the stage. Remember, we created stage first, pipe next. Dropping should be the reverse way. Pipe first, finally stage next. So this way you will practice the incremental load activities. And do let me know for doubts and clarifications. Glad to assist you. Kindly practice all the items carefully. And once you are done, then yes, we'll be having the resume operations next, resume activity. I'll provide you some sample resumes. Once you complete all the practice of the concepts, do let me know, so that I'll provide you the sample resumes, and we need to sit together for a few minutes and frame the resume carefully. My complete support for your learning and job work, and do make sure you complete all your practice before you step into your resume services. Thank you very much. Have a nice time. Thank you once again.